John chapter 13, starting at verse 1. Jesus washes his disciples' feet. It was now the day before the Passover festival. Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. He had always loved those in the world who were his own, and he loved them to the very end. Jesus and his disciples were at supper. The devil had already put into the heart of Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot, the thought of betraying Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had given him complete power. He knew that he had come from God and was going to God. So he rose from the table, took off his outer garment, and tied a towel around his waist. Then he poured some water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and dry them with the towel round his waist. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Are you going to wash my feet, Lord?" Jesus answered him, "You do not understand now what I am doing, but you will understand later." Peter declared, "Never at any time will you wash my feet." "If I do not wash your feet," Jesus answered, "you will no longer be my disciple." Simon Peter answered, "Lord, do not wash only my feet then. Wash my hands and head too." Jesus said, "Anyone who has had a bath is completely clean and does not have to wash himself except for his feet. All of you are clean, all except one." Jesus already knew who was going to betray him. That is why he said, "All of you except one are clean." After Jesus had washed their feet, he put his outer garment back on and returned to his place at the table. "Do you understand what I have just done to you?" he asked. "You call me teacher and Lord, and it is right that you do so, because that is what I am. I, your Lord and teacher, have just washed your feet. You then should wash one another's feet. I have set an example for you, so that you will do just what I have done for you. I am telling you the truth. No slave is greater than his master, and no messenger is greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know this truth, how happy you will be if you put it into practice."
When he had gone out, Jesus said, "Now is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and glorify him at once. Little children, yet I am a little while with you. You will seek me, and just as I have said to the Jews, so now I also say to you, where I am going you cannot come. A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another just as I have loved you. You also are to love one another. By this all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another."
So I'm not sure if you can see, but I'm actually on the ranges in Ash, and just all around me you'll be able to, I'll just spin the camera around, and down here you can probably see just behind me, you'll be able to see kind of some of the bunkers and stuff that people have been in. And it's where all the soldiers train and they spend time working out their maneuvers, so actually when they get out into the world of war that they actually know what they're actually doing. And I used to grow up around here and used to be on here many a time when I was a child. And the story we hear of Jesus washing the disciples' feet, in a way, he said, look, told the disciples, look, do what I am doing to you now. I have set an example to you to live out this life. In a way, he was preparing them for the mission field as they're about to go out. He was basically saying to them, look, I am washing your feet now so that you know what it means to be a servant in the real world. Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes it can be quite hard to serve people that we don't like. It's really easy to serve and to give out to people who we do like, but people who we don't like, who we feel probably are really tricky, it's really hard to do that. How easy is it to serve someone who persecutes us, who calls us by names at work, who describes what we do or who we believe in as silly, as idiotic, as, well, just a waste of time and actually wrong? For when we're called a bigot for believing stuff about truth, but we're still called to serve them. See, when Jesus met with his disciples, there's one disciple in there that we hear of that he is with, and that is Judas. And we hear at the very beginning of the passage of how Judas had already had in his heart, put in his heart to betray Jesus. And I think Jesus knew that. I think Jesus knew that Judas was the very person who was going to betray him. And so when it came to the fact that when he took off Judas's sandals and he washed his feet, there was a stark reality of what it means to be a follower of Jesus, is to say you are to love your enemies, to love the ones who will come against you. So when Peter comes to his turn to wash his feet, he says, I'm lovely to have my feet washed. And Jesus says, if you don't allow me to wash your feet, you can't be washed by me. Pointing to the cross, pointing to the fact is that Jesus is about to die on the cross and he's going to allow his death and his resurrection to wash him, to make him clean. But he also says, as we go through that passage, that Jesus is showing the example of what it means to serve. That Jesus, although in verse 3 had the power given to him by the Father, he exercised that power by serving, by putting himself below others. And so here is, in a way, the training ground for the disciples. Jesus saying, if you don't do this, then really you have no part of me. If you don't serve like I serve, as I have served you, then you have no fruit of what I'm about to do. See, on this Maundy Thursday, as we come to Good Friday the next day, Jesus is showing the ultimate way of serving humanity by giving up his life, the death of his self. And here at this point, he's showing to the disciples, look, I'm about to die on the cross for you. I'm about to sacrifice myself. What I ask of you now is that you sacrifice yourself as my disciples for others. That you will show the love that I have for you by showing it to others. You see, as we come down here, there's a little shelter. And it's a shelter, obviously, that's probably maybe made by someone, but we're in that, like, the bunker of where the soldiers would practice. And here Jesus is saying, look, you're in this room, I am serving you, I'm washing your feet, I'm about to go to the cross, I'm about to raise from the dead, and you're about to, in the long scheme of things, you will end up following me. I'm asking you now to step out of the bunker, step out of this safe space of being with me, and now I'm asking you to serve others. He goes on into verse 35. He says, today we are to love others as he has loved us. The stepping out and going out to wash the feet of people who, frankly, we find really difficult. And to keep serving them, even when they turn their backs on us. To keep giving out to them, even when we've given out and out and out, and they still turn and hate us. I'm not sure what that looks like for you. I'm not sure what stepping out of the bunker looks like for you. I'm not sure whether you're still on the training ground and not realised that actually you're in the mission field. But here on Maundy Thursday, as we head towards Easter, Jesus is calling his disciples, he's calling you, he's calling me out of the bunker of the training ground and into the mission field of washing other people's feet. Because it's as we wash people's feet, as we serve, as we truly show the depth of God's love for us through our service of others, of us denying ourselves, of giving up ourselves, of sacrificing ourselves for others, will his glory be seen. See, Maundy Thursday is all about the death of self. It's all about saying, if I follow Jesus, I follow in his footsteps. And that means I sacrifice myself for others. That means I show Jesus to others by giving of myself. So here's the question then. Whose feet are you washing today? Whose feet are you seeking to serve? It's fine to serve the people who you like and you know will praise you back. But who is it that you're serving who you know will actually betray you? Who will actually come against you? I'm not sure. But maybe today is the day that you step out of the training ground and into the mission field and serve like Jesus.
entered our world, your glory veiled, not to be served, but to serve, and give your life that we might live. This is our God, the servant King. He calls us now to follow Him, to bring our lives as a daily offering of worship to the servant King.
There in the Garden of Tears, my heavy load He chose to bear. His heart with sorrow was torn, yet not my will, but yours, He said.
This is our God, the servant King. He calls us now to follow Him, to bring our lives as a daily offering of worship to the servant King. Come see His hands and His feet, the scars that speak of sacrifice, hands that flung stars into space, to cruel nails surrender. This is our God, the servant King. He calls us now to follow Him, to bring our lives as a daily offering of worship to the servant King. So let us learn how to serve, and in our lives enthrone Him, each other's needs to prefer. For it is Christ we're serving. This is our God, the servant King. He calls us now to follow Him, to bring our lives as a daily offering of worship to the servant King. To the servant